Hope you are doing good. My name is Hannah. I am from Infoil Studio. Today our topic of discussion is static testing versus dynamic testing and verification and validation. What is static testing? What is dynamic testing? Difference between static and dynamic testing. Verification and validation. What is static testing? It is a software testing technique, in which the software is tested without executing the code. Here are the static testing techniques: informal reviews, technical reviews, walkthrough, inspection. In future video, we will discuss about the static testing technique. What is dynamic testing? It is a software testing technique, in which the software is tested with the execution of code. These are dynamic testing techniques, functional and non-functional. Now, let's discuss about the difference between static and dynamic testing. Static testing is about prevention of defects, whereas dynamic testing is about finding and fixing the defects. Static testing gives an assessment of code and documentation. Dynamic testing gives bugs in the software system. Static testing performed in verification stage, whereas dynamic testing performed in validation stage. In static testing, cost of finding defects and fixing is less, and in dynamic testing, cost of finding and fixing defects is high. More reviews comments are highly recommended for good quality. More defects are highly recommended for good quality. Now, let's discuss verification and validation. In verification, it does not involve execution the code. In validation, it always involve execution the code. Verification is a static practice of verifying documents, design, code, and program, whereas validation is a dynamic mechanism of validating and testing the actual product. Verification is to check whether the software conforms to specification. Validation is to check whether the software meets the customer expectations and requirements. Verification checks: are we building the product right? Validation checks: are we building the right product? Verification is a low-level activity, and validation is a high-level activity. Verification is human-based checking of documents and files. Validation is computer-based execution of program. Verification uses methods like reviews, walkthroughs, inspections, and desk checking, etc. Validation uses methods like black box testing, white box testing, and non-functional testing. Here is a simple example of verification and validation. A clickable button with name login. Verification would check the design document and correcting the spelling mistake. Let's assume that the development team will create a login button. If in the design document the spelling is incorrect, then the development team will create the button with the incorrect name. Now, let's move on to the example of validation. Once the code is ready, validation is done. A validation test found the login button. In validation testing, the development team will make the login button clickable.